Hi, welcome to Kitchen Chats. I'm Amy Kandrac, and today I have my mom in the kitchen with me, Fran Kandrac. Thanks for coming today, Mom.
Thanks for having me.
Today we are going to chat about what I think is one of your favorite holidays. And I could be wrong, but I think this is probably one of your favorites, and it's Random Acts of Kindness Day. And that is coming up on Friday, February 17th.
It is, but to me it's every day.
I know.
But yes, it is a wonderful holiday and one to make a fuss over.
Yeah, it's a fun one. Do you want to start out by sharing one of the reasons that we started really looking at Random Acts of Kindness Day? I know that was
Definitely.
that was one that was really, really special to Laura when we were doing stuff for her.
It was special to Laura, and I think one of the reasons it was so special is that she absolutely loved all of the fun things we did for her and her family. And when we decided to talk to her about Random Acts of Kindness Day and what she might like to do or for us to do. And we came up with, a long list of things. And in typical Laura fashion, she said, well, I'd like to think about it for a couple days, which was great. And then she came back to us with an idea that none of us had thought about. And she wanted to do nice things for the staff at the infusion center where she went and got her chemo infusions. And she helped participate in this. So what we did was we sent out a message, and at that point we had over 200 people on Laura's team. And I mean, they were 200 active people.
Right.
And we sent out a message saying that we were going to do this, and we thought we would make care packages for each of the people on staff. And so people started sending money. And we took Laura to Target, and we picked out all kinds of fun things for care packages. And the money kept coming. So we ended up buying a bunch of gift cards. And so we assembled little care packages, and I think we probably made a dozen of them, maybe more. And we coordinated with the office administrator at the infusion center. Laura's friend RJ dropped off donuts and coffee that morning.
I remember.
And then another friend, Katie, who is a massage therapist, she went and spent the whole day doing chair massages for everybody on staff, which they loved. And then while Laura was getting her infusion, several of us showed up. Some were already there with her because some of her friends always went with her. And we came with the care packages, which we had made at Laura's mom's house, and they were very festive and
fun.
Colorful
because people
and
who
fun.
love to make care packages make them absolutely amazing. That is why I don't
Absolutely.
participate in them.
Well, you probably participate, but maybe it's not your thing.
It is not my thing to make.
Right.
I love to receive them and give somebody something to do it. But I'm really glad that there are people who love to make care packages.
Well,
Anyway,
we did,
you did.
and Laura was part of assembling them, and she had lots of fun with it. So when we walked in that day, and we said, well, we're here to see Laura, and they said, oh, you've brought her gifts. We just love her so much. And we didn't say a word. And then Laura got up from her chair and was able to pull with her drips. And she went and presented one to each person individually. And it was just...
Oh, that's just so...
It was a wonderful
nice.
time. And it was interesting because in preparing for today, I think what most of us do, we have to do a little bit of research.
Sure.
And it said there have been studies done that the high that people get from giving something is more incredible than what they get for receiving something.
Right.
And I mean, I can feel that. I think we all do that. We all give gifts to people or do nice things for people, and we feel good.
Yeah, it does feel really good. And I think the surprise element on Random Acts of Kindness Day is it is really nice for people that get that.
And to give it.
Right.
And to do it.
Right.
And to
right.
do it. So anyway, that's how we got started with this.
Mm-hmm.
And it was 2006.
Mm-hmm.
And Random Acts of Kindness Day originated in 1995. So it really hadn't been around all that long.
Right.
And there's actually a foundation now in Denver, Colorado, called the Random Acts of Kindness Foundation. And they actually have curriculum for companies and for schools and for homes.
Oh.
Which I just found fascinating because I think in our family we're not perfect. Let's not think we're in denial.
I don't even know where this is going, Mom.
But I do think we generally do kind things for each other. I was thinking this morning about how much I love flowers. I love receiving flowers, but I love giving flowers. And recently I've really been into giving flowers a whole lot more.
Yes, we'll put a little plug in.
No, I'm not trying to do that.
Business,
no, I'm not doing that.
I know, but it is really cool.
Well, anyway. It is very fun. But anyway. But I was thinking this morning, your dad is the one who really taught me the beauty of having fresh flowers around because he loved that. And when we were first married, our next door neighbor worked at a wholesale florist. And every Saturday she would bring home leftover flowers that they couldn't use because they would be closed. And she always gave us some, which he always looked forward to. And he's the one who arranged them in vases. And I know now you're the one who has that gift. I'm still no good at it, but I love the result. But I've always enjoyed having fresh flowers, and I buy them for myself, and I think that's a great thing to mention for Random Acts of Kindness Day, that
you can buy them for yourself as a random act of kindness.
You can do something for yourself any day and do something nice for yourself because we all deserve it.
Yeah, that is one of my favorite things when I'm walking through the grocery. They'll have some, like $5.99 bundles of flowers, and that is... It's not always available for everyone, right? But on days that I can do that for myself, it just makes my kitchen happy. It makes me happy. I like to think it makes everyone in my house happy when they see fresh flowers.
Exactly. And you mentioned about not everybody can afford to buy them, and that's so true. But so many of the things we can do for Random Acts of Kindness Day or any day cost nothing. And I really encourage people to just try this out a little bit, even before February 17th.
Or after February 17th.
Or any time. But things, and I've done this before, and I've been the recipient of this before. You can be in the grocery store, and we all do this. We see that someone has on like the most gorgeous scarf. We'll say something. Just, you don't have to have a conversation. You don't have to take up their time. Just as you're passing in the aisle, just say, that scarf is absolutely beautiful. Of course, you will smile. You wouldn't say something like that if you weren't smiling. It's just a natural thing.
And just to compliment people when you feel, like when you notice it yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
One of the tips that I think is so fun is that if you're in an office, and I know a lot of people are working remotely, but if you're in an office, compliment somebody or even leave a random Post-it note on their desk with a compliment. Maybe it's something like, I heard you on the phone with that customer and you were amazing. Because we all can use a pick-me-up.
That is a really nice one, especially in anyone in the customer service industry right now. I think it's really difficult.
Yes.
And so reminding our coworkers that they're doing a nice job. And on that note, telling our service workers, thank you.
Yes.
Right? As you're in the grocery store, as you're getting a cup of coffee, if you're at a restaurant, if you are, all of the, in line at Target, thanking them. Thanking the people who are stocking the shelves, all of the people who are working in these service industries, because I know it's really hard right now. And
even those solicitations on the phone that I can't imagine there's very many people who enjoy those. Although my dad used to having a conversation with them just for the fun of it. But to say to them, I know this is your job and I know you're doing your job and I respect that, but I am not interested. And trying to be at least showing them a little bit of kindness because they are doing their job.
Right.
They're not, I doubt anybody really aspires to say, oh, I want to be one of those really annoying customers. Well, there might be people that want to do that. One of those annoying people that call people up randomly to try to sell them something. But somebody's got to do that, and that's their job.
And I think,
and we all do things in our jobs that we may not care for, but we all appreciate being appreciated.
Right. Right.
So I love it that Random Acts of Kindness Day exists because sometimes we all just need to be reminded to do kind things. But it's also a day, particularly if someone's going through a rough time, which I realize that's kind of the basis for this podcast. It's nice to have a dedicated day to organize people to do something nice, or even if it's just as an individual, you do something nice.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be on February 17th, right?
Absolutely.
You can designate your own Random Acts of Kindness Day, but I like the idea of saying, okay, this is our designated day to really think about doing this random act of kindness.
I mean, I know this is not a new thing, but I love it when you take somebody's trash can back up to their house on trash day. And I've had that done at my house before. I have no idea who did it.
Yeah.
But it's just like, oh, isn't that nice?
That is a really nice one.
Or have your sidewalk shoveled. Or if it's nice, beautiful weather, have your sidewalk swept. There's a storm and there's debris and yeah, it'll blow away, or maybe some people don't care, but a fresh, clean sidewalk is just
an entry into your home. It's really nice to feel like somebody has acknowledged your entry into your home, to help you make it clean and welcoming.
Right.
That's a nice idea.
We have a friend who lost her daughter a few years ago. Well, it's been like less than 2 years ago, and I'm sure that to this day she doesn't know who did this, and maybe she'll be listening. But we had a whole bunch of us just dropped Mom's off on her porch. It was in the fall, and we know she loves flowers, loves her garden, and we did that because we just wanted to give her something beautiful when she got home from the funeral.
That's it, yeah.
So, I mean, there's so many little things that people can do. So if you've got a friend going through something and you want to do a surprise, well, you obviously know that friend well enough to know what might be a fun surprise. But if you're not sure, a gift card is always kind of fun with a note. I love handwritten notes. I wish I was better at writing them. I have great intentions. If I had mailed all of the ones I've composed in my mind.
Well, it's funny, as I was thinking about our conversation today and reflecting on all of the podcasts that I've done so far and the ones I've recorded, almost every single conversation, and not all, but a really large majority, someone will mention a handwritten note at some point. And how special and meaningful it is. And that is something that, again, it doesn't take a ton of time. It feels way more overwhelming, I think, than it actually is.
Right.
It's one of those, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to go pick out the perfect card. It really can just be on, like, I think it's almost more meaningful to say, oh, this is the paper that I have in my kitchen. I'm thinking about you right now, and I really wanted to just share my favorite thought about you. Stick it in an envelope. I get all kinds of envelopes all the time with bills that I'm going to pay online, so I don't need to use the envelope. Like, I'm just trying to say, like, those barriers to getting it done
right
really shouldn't be barriers I think the biggest barrier for me would be making sure I have flippin' stamps.
I know. But I will also say, if you intend to write that note and you didn't get it done,
You can still do it.
well, or send a text. And I know I promote the handwritten notes, and I think handwritten notes are so wonderful. But if you just send a text to somebody you haven't heard from for a while, or even at somebody you talk to every day, but you want to just say, you know, I was thinking about you this morning, and it made me smile when I remembered about the time that we...
Yeah.
It's a simple gesture. It doesn't take long. And if you're doing the handwritten note, you know, 3 sentences is enough. You don't have to write
You don't have to write a big
a
long.
long story. It
Right.
can be a very quick note that you know, just jot it down and send it. And I promise you, you will be thinking about it. After you mail it, you're going to feel good.
You will feel good, and I think your friend will feel good as well.
Oh, your friend will love it.
Yeah.
You'll love it. Because, I don't know, we all enjoy getting something personal in the mail. So,
Yeah, I think the personal thing in the mail is really special also. Really special also. So I know you have a long list of all of the other ideas.
Okay. So I'm going to go back to, if you're doing something for a friend, to honor your friend because they're going through an illness or something, and you have a group of people that you want to do something. I personally think it's a nice day to include that friend and ask them what they want, because
Right, like you did with Laura.
we did with Laura, because you know, we know our friends and we know a lot of things they like, but we may not know what's on their mind or that's heavy on their heart at that particular moment. So it could be that maybe they're going through treatment for cancer, but they have another friend who's also going through treatment for cancer and doesn't have that wonderful support, and they want to share. So it's just a nice thing to ask them. But, you know, if you'd rather do a surprise, that's okay too.
Yeah.
That's the great thing about this. There's no rights or wrongs.
Right. And maybe also remembering you can include the rest of your family. Like maybe you have someone, or maybe their family has kids who would like to help with this surprise. Maybe maybe your family has kids who would like to be able to help with something like
Absolutely.
this. And I will put the caveat in, like, I hate surprises. I hate them with a passion. But the non-intrusive kind are okay. And remembering to not be super intrusive with your surprises. If your friend is someone like me who, like, I just hate it.
I know. So some ideas, and maybe you don't have a group of people, you're just doing this on your own. I think on this podcast, we always encourage people to offer to run errands. And you can just do a blanket, do you need any errands run? But it's also helpful sometimes to say, I'm on my way to the hardware store. Is there anything around your house that you know needs to be done? Maybe I could pick up the materials and do it for you. Or I'm lousy at that, but I know a great guy who would be happy to come over because, you know, he cares about you also and would like to be able to do something helpful. I mean, this is a great way to get some of the men involved who might not always be in the have a cup of tea and chat mode, but but they might be really good at hanging pictures or cleaning the gutters, or, you know, the honey-do list can be long. It can be short, but it's nice to say, do you have a honey-do list that we can help you with?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah. We talked about notes and we talked about texts. And another thing that sometimes it's sad to me, but people are shying away from, is make a phone call.
Yeah.
And it could be somebody that you text with regularly or you haven't talked to for 3 years. And just call them, and if you just get their voicemail, that's okay. Leave them a message, and you know, just reach out and be yourself.
Yeah, I was chatting with someone on Zoom yesterday and kept getting interrupted. We couldn't have our meeting that we were supposed to have, and finally she said to me, just call me the next time you're in the car and we can finish this conversation. I was like, oh, that's a great idea. Like, we can just have the conversation, and not a distracted driving, it's hands-free, all that kind of stuff.
Right,
But,
right,
you know,
definitely.
I've got 15 minutes as I'm, commuting to the next place,
Right.
being able to pick up the phone and just say, hey, can we just do a 10 or 15 minute check-in?
Right. Yeah, I have friends that we schedule phone calls when one of us is going to be driving so that we can chat. You mentioned a Zoom, and that's become, I think, kind of a normal thing for a lot of us, whether it's for business or for personal. I have a friend whose family does a family Zoom every Sunday evening. I just think that's really nice. I mean, it's the grandchildren, the grandparents, everybody's in on that. But if you notice something during that Zoom that maybe you want to send us a special text or an email or a phone call afterwards to say, something like, I noticed you were quiet, hope everything's okay. Or it might be like, you had on that purple shirt that I always love, and I just needed to tell you how fabulous it looks on you.
Yeah.
Who doesn't
Love a compliment.
love a compliment, but who doesn't stand there looking at their clothes in their closet thinking, I just don't know what I'm in the mood to wear today. And sometimes we always have our same little go-to that we wear. But it still feels good that we made a good decision today.
Yeah, that is nice.
So another idea that's not mine, I heard this on one of your podcasts, and I really liked it, and I think I've done this before, but I want to do it more in the future, is to drop off a favorite book to somebody. And or send it to them as an electronic book. Make sure you know what platform they use. But sometimes we read a book that, fiction. It might be a biography. It might be about geography. But if it's something that you've thought about your friend thinking, oh, I bet so-and-so would love this, well, then give it to them.
I think that is a great idea. And I have been gifted books in the past like that.
As I have too. It is nice.
And actually just this morning, someone, and I shouldn't say just this morning, this has been happening a lot more frequently. I have a couple of different friends who start listening to podcasts. And they're like, oh, I thought of you, and you should listen to this. Like, this podcast made me think of you. And so they'll just send me the link to the podcast. This is not meant to be self-promotion, but if you want to send this to your friends, that's always okay too.
Definitely. Absolutely. Yeah.
That had not been my intention, but now I'm totally going to take the, send this to your friends.
Well, and I'm older than you are, and actually I have this coaster that you shared with me today that says, my ability to remember song lyrics from the 80s far exceeds my ability to remember why I walked into the kitchen. Well, at least today I remember why I'm here. But that makes me think that my generation, they've heard of podcasts. Some of my friends are really into listening, and others I've told them about your podcasts, and they're like, yeah, but I just have no idea how to do that. And it's amazing to me how often I hear that. And so I will send them the link and say, all you have to do is push the start button. And then they listen, and then they've learned something new. And I think older people get a bad rap sometimes, and they weren't born old. I mean,
this is truth.
No matter how old we are, we were a teenager once, and we were doing what teenagers do and did. But as we get older, technology changes, and we still want to be up with the times, and so it's kind of fun when we can share. And
I think that's another nice random act of kindness that you could do for someone that I'm just now thinking of. I'm like, oh, that would be it doesn't have to be this podcast, but some form of technology that you think might be helpful for someone else to say, hey, here's, just Google it. I'm sure there's instructions that you can send along, or call them or FaceTime them and walk them through it.
What happens to me quite often, it's kind of amazing to me how often this happens to me, is I will be at lunch or dinner with somebody and they pull out their phone and say, here, I need your help with something. because they know that I probably can help them, or if I can't, I'll find a way to help them. But if you are a techie, or if you're under the age of 40 or 50.
Maybe 50. Let's go with 50. Please, today.
I mean,
40
so
is
often
better.
people say, well, just wait till your grandkids visit, then they can help you with that. Even if their grandkids are 5. But, if you've got that capability, that's a wonderful kindness you can do for somebody to say, is there something you're struggling with on your phone that I can help you with? And I will know that we all sometimes have to take a deep breath before we say that, because some people are more of a challenge to help than others. But if we're talking about doing kindness for somebody, let's be realistic.
It's true.
A little bit of frustration on our part can go a long way for making somebody else's life easier and better.
And they'll enjoy it too.
Yeah, and then in the end, you're going to say, you know what, at least now so-and-so is listening to podcasts, or knows how to send a picture. It's some things that we might take for granted, and we think it's so simple, but it's not real simple. And for 5-year-olds, I don't know why they intuitively have this. Maybe because when they were being breastfed, their mom was sending pictures and they learned. I don't know. But
Thanks, Mom. That's a great picture for everybody to think about right now.
Well, if you're watching movies...
Sorry.
Okay, but when I had my babies and I was feeding them...
No, I think it's fun to talk about.
It was a bonding time between a parent and a child, or a grandparent and a baby, whatever. And I think so often... I'm not going to say always, because I'm sure there are still plenty of people who are putting away their device. But I think a lot of people think, oh, I'm holding this baby and they're eating, so I can be busy on my device. And I'm just saying, little kids instinctively know how to do this stuff, which it wasn't instinctive when I was a child, because it wasn't even, we were watching the Jetsons and thought, oh, that stuff will never happen. And now it's happening.
Well, we didn't have cell phones when I was 5, so I understand.
No.
Yeah, it's if they're listening to this podcast, they could probably relate to most of that. Not everybody, but yeah.
Anyway, I love Random Acts of Kindness Day. I'm loving that we are talking about it. I just think even if all you do that day is smile at people, you'll feel better. They'll feel better, and some people might think, well, that was weird. What was that all about? But just try to be kind and do something out of your norm, no matter who you are, no matter how many kind things you do every day. Up your game a little bit just for that day. And
and if listeners have a really special idea that they would like to share, please send it in to me, post it on social media so that everybody else can benefit from these really fun ideas.
Definitely.
Mom, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for asking me.
Of course.
I always love being in your kitchen.
Well, we'll have many more opportunities, I am confident.
I know. Even if we're not doing a podcast, it's a happy place.
It is a happy place. All right, well, thanks for joining me today.